A lot of black people ask questions like, where was God when slavery and colonization happened? Where was God when our ancestors were butchered to death and overworked in cotton plantations? And today, I want to explain something that will hopefully help you answer that question. By now, we all know that whoever created the universe made a decision to make black people the first human beings on the planet. Genesis chapter 1 verse 26 says, "And God said, let us make man in our own image and let them have dominion over all things on earth." Black people were created and given the power to rule over all creations, and indeed they did so for thousands of years. Black people were the first people on the planet to establish a civilization. They were the first people to develop family units, laws, currencies, politics, education, architecture, medicine, spirituality. Black people were the first people to understand how melanin works and how special it was. Melanin in ancient Africa was the basis of African spirituality, but when a mutation occurred as recorded in Genesis 6, and it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair. When Africans started giving birth to non-melanated or slightly melanated people, inclusion became a problem, and therefore all non-melanated people were kicked out of the continent into the inferno called hell to establish survival in Europe. European civilization began in the cold caves in Rome, with the founders being Romulus and his twin brother Remus, who had to survive in the wilderness through suckling a she-wolf. Wolves took care of them until safety, hence the narrative dog is a man's best friend. When the twins grew up and learned about their identity, they decided to go back and retaliate. When a parent rejects a child and that child grows, survives, and perhaps becomes successful, when that child meets the parent again in future, the results can be unknown. And in the case of Africa and Europe, the results were toxic, graphic, and highly dangerous because the abandonment, the hatred, and the anger DNA was still alive. East Africa is not only the cradle of mankind, East Africa is also the place where albinism began. East Africans chased the mutants from the Garden of Eden into the cold hell. The mutants survived and developed equipments for their defense mechanism. When the defense equipments reached their peak, they decided to come back to Africa to butcher, enslave, and drag Africa through the mud because the heart was never healed. So where was God, you may ask? When you study astronomy, you realize that the black hole is the most powerful thing on this planet. But guess what holds it all together? A dark matter called melanin. Melanocytes that produce melanin are the second most sophisticated cells in the human body, after the pyramidal cells in the cerebral cortex that aid in thinking. Melanin is a powerful absorber of energy, yet words, feelings, emotions, sounds, and all living things all exist together in the spirit realm as energy. Melanin does not only block UV rays. Melanin can manipulate electrons. Melanin can absorb radiation. Melanin can create energy. Melanin can produce electricity. Melanin has power. And that is where God has been the whole time. The biggest lessons that Africans needed to learn here is the moment you exclude anything that is a part of you as not a part of you, then you're creating a future conflict for yourself. Whenever you reject a part of yourself, you're creating a resistance from within. And just like love can make the world go round, hate can make the world stop. White supremacy, patriarchy, racism, deforestation, animal cruelty, capitalism, poverty are all manifestations of a separation that occurred. They are all manifestations of a rejection, of anger, of a heart that was never healed. My people only perish due to lack of knowledge. For where there is no understanding, people perish. But as it is written in Matthew chapter 24, verse 34, truly I tell you, this generation will certainly not pass away until all these things have happened. We are all one, and we are all each other's problem, and we must heal together in order to stop greed from benefiting from our separation.